Hi YouTubers, today we're going to do a teardown on a 98 Chevy door panel. We're also going to replace the side glass and the door handle while we're in there. The door panels from a 89 through 94 Chevy GM and the 95 through the 98 Chevy GM. They're both pretty similar in the way that they come off with just some slight differences. If you have any questions, feel free to comment after watching the video. Some of the basic tools that we're going to use here, we have flat and Phillips screwdriver, a pair of needle nose pliers, ratchet, a 10 and a 7mm socket, and a T30 star socket, as well as some sort of a body panel puller or anything flat. A large flat blade screwdriver will work as well. So to start, we're going to pull the panel that holds your switches and your tweeter. Go ahead and start at the rear of the panel, pop it up. Mine's been out so many times now that I don't have to use the tool anymore. I can just pull and it pops out. Once you get this out, I have aftermarket tweeters, so I no longer have those in, but it's a simple harness on there. You use a screwdriver to pop that out. For the other two here, the first one is the smaller of the two. Use a flat blade screwdriver right here on this part of the clip and pull it out with the screwdriver. Mine's been out a few times, so it's pretty worn. Now on this guy here, bring the screwdriver in the face, insert all the way to the bottom, and then you can pull out the entire harness together. So now that we have both of those out, we can go ahead and tuck them in the panel so they're out of our way. Next, we'll go ahead and remove the piece over the door handle. For this, I like to use a flat screwdriver. It works the best. There's 4 points that are attached. Right here, right below the handle, right above the handle, and to the side of your lock. You're going to have to slowly work in each one until they release, pushing in with the screwdriver so they pop out, and just slowly work it back and forth until you can remove it. Again, my panels have been off quite a bit, so they come off pretty easily. Just work them slowly so you don't break anything. Next step is going to be to remove the two screws down in the armrest of the door pocket. They should just be Phillips screws. Once you remove those, the door panel should be free to go ahead and pull all the clips. Last thing that we're going to pull before we pull the panel is this corner piece up here. It's held on with just a single clip. You can work a tool in to the side right here and just pop it out. Should be able to work it off with your hands. And the rest of the clips for the door panel look just like this. So we're going to go ahead and take our tool. We're going to start near the bottom. It's the easiest spot to work off of. Once you get your tool in, go ahead and just start working it around and finding the clips. Every time you come to a clip, give a slight bit of pressure, and they should pop out with ease. This part you got to be really careful. This is where you will break stuff. Mine's been off so many times though that everything just kind of pulls freely. Once you get to a certain point, you can go ahead and use your hands to try to work the rest of the clips off. Once you get to this point, you're going to have one wire behind the door here. It's connected to your corner light. Two screwdrivers. They're little small clips. You use flat blade screwdrivers to pop that off. As soon as you get that free, the entire panel should just lift right up off the door seal. Here we have the inner door panel. What we're going to do is we're going to come in with a 7mm socket, remove all the upper screws first, So that way we could start to tear into the internal components before we drop the entire panel. Over here we're going to have the 10mm socket, as well as here. I'll show you a little further in the video. Most of you will still have your factory speakers in. You can go ahead and remove those if you'd like. It'd probably make the whole process easier. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of these screws. I like to keep stuff in bags just so I don't lose anything and can keep track of the different parts as I go. I find it to be useful to help keep stuff sorted. Nothing worse than having extra parts at the end of working on something. We can go ahead and leave the door handle attached to this inner panel. You can remove it if you'd like, or if you need to remove it to replace it. I will show you a little further in the video how to do that. At this point we have all of our top screws, nothing left but the bottom ones. That way we can access inside of the inner panel. At this point, if you wanted to remove your door handle, you have one screw down here. It's either a large Phillip or a flat blade screwdriver. As soon as you remove that one screw, the whole unit slides forward and will come out. On the back side here, we have the rods connecting the door handle and the lock mechanism. This is where we need our pair of needle nose pliers. They're just held in with plastic tabs, so if you put a little bit of pressure on the bottom, they should pop right out. There's another style clip that is used. I will show you on the other end of the rods in just a little bit. If you have this style clip here, it's the same thing, just a little bit different in the process of pulling the clip off. Remove the door handle rod, as well as the rod connecting the lock mechanism. After you disconnect them from there, come back to the motor for the lock. Just push up, and your rod should be disconnected from the door panel at this point. You can go ahead and drop them down so they're out of your way. After that, you can go ahead and remove the rest of the screws from the main panel, and once you remove that last screw, the panel should be free to drop down. At this point, you can go ahead and pull the panel away from the door. There is a seal around it, so it might be a little difficult. At this point, we'll go ahead and remove the window from the track. The best way to do this is to just slide the panel. Start by sliding forward with the panel and then back. At this point we have our panel off. The glass is just sitting in there. I'm going to go ahead and take our 10mm socket again and remove this screw right here. It holds the window track on the inside and will allow us to pull the side glass out a little bit easier. And go ahead and push this back away from your glass. Now your glass is in here freely. It is still held in on this side, but in a minute we'll go ahead and slide the entire piece out. At this point, the side glass is out. Mine's getting replaced, so I didn't really care about how I pulled it out. It is complicated to get out without scratching it at all. I already have the other side done and back in. My best advice is just to take it slow. Next, we're going to go ahead and drop this lock. Next, you're going to need your T30 star socket. Remove these 3 screws here. Once we do, this entire piece will drop down and allow us to get to the door handle components more freely. Now that's moving around freely in there. This door handle was broken, so it's already out. I'll go ahead and show you all the components and how they attach. We'll have a better view with the handle outside of the truck. Here we have the old and the new door handle. Right here is where the small lever inside of the door of the truck will attach with a small clip. New handles came with the clips. This is the other style clip that I was talking about. To remove this, all you have to do is insert a screwdriver, flat blade, into this side at the bottom and push it up and off. Once the tab is bent up, the entire clip should slide right off. The lock mechanism has an arm that attaches to this clip here. It's exactly the same as the other clip. Lift this tab here, the entire thing should pop off. You're replacing your door locks. Depress the tab here, and the entire mechanism will pop right out. So to remove the door handle, you're going to have one screw here and one right here on the door. They're both 10mm. On the back side of the door handle, as I was showing you, there's going to be 2 rods. This one, the longer one, will connect to the door handle, and this smaller one down here will connect to the lock. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and attach the rod to the door handle. They just push in. You should hear it clip. It locks in on the back side. Go up with the handle and then in. If you have trouble getting it in, the locking mechanism, you can slightly rotate it and it should fit into place. At this point, we can go ahead and reconnect the rod for the lock mechanism. You can just slide this whole piece up until you're in place and feed the rod into the clip until you can hear it latch. As soon as you complete that, we'll come in, put the 10mm bolt on the inside, and attach the one on the outside. Now that our door handle is completely reattached, we're going to go ahead and test, make sure that it's going to work properly. Then we can go ahead and reattach these 3 screws. Just lift this back up into place and remount the screws. Since I'm putting brand new glass in, I'm going to go ahead and replace this outer window seal here. As you can see, it's just held on by these tabs. Go ahead and lift up on them and slide it up off of the door track. Once you have the seal up off of the track, have to remove or at least loosen the upper and outer lower bolts for your mirror to get it the rest of the way off. Once you loosen it up, you can slide it right up out off the track. Now it's time to go ahead and reinstall the glass. The 2 rods that connect to the door handle, it's best to have someone hold them out of the way for you, or if you don't have a second person, go ahead and just tape them up. Now that we got the side glass back in, we're going to go ahead and realign it with the tracks. You want to start on this side, get that side seated, then over here on this side, work it back into place, and reattach this upper 10mm bolt. It'll move slightly so you can realign it, make sure that the hole lines up. The next step will be to reverse the whole process of tearing it down. On the back side of the panel, we're going to go ahead and take these wheels and insert them in the window track. Go ahead and start with the back one, and then put the front one in. So you're going to align the rear wheel first, slide it all the way forward, and align the front wheel. You can come down through where your speaker's at. This is where removing the factory speaker makes this whole process a lot easier. Make sure that it's properly mounted on there, and then go ahead and reconnect your rods to your door handle and to the locking motor. And don't forget to clip them to the back side of the panel. And once they're both clipped into place, go ahead and put them back in on the handle side. Push them back in those push tabs. And the locking mechanism as well. So when you're finished, they're both mounted back in on the handle side, clipped back into the clips of the back of the panel, and reattached to the lock motor. After you're done with that, go ahead and bolt the panel back up with all your 7mm screws and your one 10mm down here. You'll have to go ahead and realign that. That's a part of that window track. Before we get the panel the rest of the way together, we're going to go ahead and test that the lock functions properly. We're also going to make sure that the door handles function properly. Go ahead and check the inside handle as well. Now that we know that all those are operating smoothly, I like to go ahead and reattach the switch panel, and we'll go ahead and test that the window is going to operate properly and that the track won't bind up or anything like that. Go ahead and push the wires back in and turn on the ignition, and we'll go ahead and test. Door lock functions properly. The window rolls up and down. Also make sure that the outer window seal that we replaced is seated properly. It's not going to move at all. And now we have a brand new fresh window. So we'll go ahead and pop those back off again, same way we did it last time. Small clip on this one. You can go ahead and pull the wire harness out. On this one, just insert the screwdriver right there and pull the whole harness out. Now we can go ahead and reattach the door panel. We're going to do it in the opposite order of what we took it off. So we'll start up top and seat it on the door channel. I'm going to make sure that it seats in the correct position and that it's all the way down. And then what you can do is come in from the sides, and you line up all your clips with the tabs, and then just push right in. And you go ahead and work your way all the way around, feeding them all in. Make sure that it locks back into position. After you've completed that, you can go ahead and take the wires and reattach them to your switch panel. And as soon as the wires are reconnected, go ahead and pop it right back into place, opposite of how you took it out. So go ahead and put the front in first. Slight pressure, and the panel will click back into place. The last thing to complete, go ahead and put the bezel back on the door handle. And all you do is put pressure and it'll click right back into place. And almost forgot this corner piece. Go ahead and slide the lower pieces in to lock into position. Slide the push tab into place, and the whole piece will just clip right in. And there you have a completed door panel teardown, new door handle, and new side glass. Thank you guys for watching. I'll try to post more videos as soon as I can on different parts of the truck, and hopefully get some better filming equipment as well.